Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name is Josh.
And welcome back to FPL Graduates. And Josh, it's finally over, the international break. I mean, how felt like too long, didn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely rubbish. I hate the international break. We're back with FPL and we're back with a bang. Do you want to welcome on our guest, Ben?
Yeah, so we've got one of I think we can call the true OGs of the FPL community, recently come onto TikTok. We've got Holly with us. Holly, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. It's really great to be here tonight.
No worries. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. We're going to get cracking into Game Week 4 because there is so much to talk about. First of all, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you're into the FPL background and what team you support and anything football related about yourself?
Yeah, so I got into playing FPL 2014 and then I joined the Twitter community shortly after that. Started my own website about 4 years ago now, which basically aggregated all the best Twitter content. And then in the last couple of years, I branched out to YouTube. Now I'm doing TikTok as well. And I do the official FPL show probably once or twice a month. And I've started doing content for the Wolves YouTube channel this season as well. So doing FPL content is now my full-time job, which is just great. I can think of a lot worse ways that I could be spending my time than actually just doing FPL for a living, which is fantastic. I support Hull City, so that doesn't obviously impact my FPL decisions too much. And even though I'm doing the content for Wolves, I am a bit of a closet Man United fan, so that's why Ronaldo is just begging to be in my team this week.
Yeah, I liked her until she said United. So, we have to deal with that. But, I mean, working at FPL, isn't that the dream, Josh? Like, we'd love it.
Yeah, wouldn't be sleeping. You're just constantly working. That's what I do anyway, really. We'll crack on, though. We'll talk about, are we going into our teams first? Yeah, we're going to our teams.
Yeah. So we're going to go into our teams, kind of talk about our thoughts and our processes and our kind of like thinking behind what we're going to be doing for our teams this week. I'll go into mine first because it's a little bit more boring than everyone else's decisions that's got going on. So currently my team's looking like this and I've banked my transfer so far. I haven't had to make a transfer and I'm relatively content with keeping Bruno Fernandes because we all know what FPL's like as a game. Whenever someone gets mass sold, a premium asset, they always return. We saw it with Son last season. I'm hoping we see it again with Bruno this season. So I'm banking my transfer, waiting it out, being sensible. That's not usually me. Josh knows that all too well. Banking the transfer and seeing what Ronaldo does this week, then base my decisions next week with the 2 free transfers. So you can see there my starting lineup. On the bench, we've got Rafinha. I mean, the situation with Brazil weren't going to affect my decisions anyway. He was always going to be on the bench. Josh, what are your initial thoughts of my decision making there?
It's definitely interesting. No Ronaldo or Lukaku. You've got deep down inside, you hurt a little bit. Surely, that's what everyone's talking about right now. For me, I don't know if I'd be keeping Mahrez right now. With him, I know Jesus might not play and stuff, but even still, Foden and De Bruyne are coming back shortly as well. I think I'll never play Pep Roulette this season unless I really, really need to. I've been hurt too bad in the past. What are you thinking, Holly, about his team?
Well, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But I just really want Ronaldo this week, but I can just see that Ben will be gloating come 5 o'clock tomorrow when Bruno's gone off and, got a double-digit score and Ronaldo's come on for 15 minutes and blanked. That's the dread, isn't it? It's the fact that to get Ronaldo in your team, you kind of need to lose Bruno Fernandes, which, yeah, we know that Bruno is not going to live up to his price tag this season if he's not on penalties. But anything could happen tomorrow that means that Bruno gets more points than Ronaldo. And at that point, Ben's just going to be loving life. And we're going to be wondering why we've taken a massive hit.
It's almost a feeling as well that you could expect Bruno Fernandes' expected ownership to potentially be under 100% as well. So we might be seeing some rank gains even if you don't captain him. So that's what I'm hoping for. Josh, should we move on to your team, your decision making? Because probably a bit more interesting than just banking the transfer like I have.
It definitely is. This one could definitely go down to the deadline, playing it pure Harry Redknapp style. So Son, I had him in obviously since game week 1. He's been a great asset, but he's been injured on international duty, which is a massive issue. But it sort of makes my decisions this week a little bit easier. I'm going to talk about the defense first because obviously it's a little bit more boring. Smithcast is in my team on the pure hope that Robertson gets benched because he's played a lot of games since coming back from his injury. I totally don't expect it to happen. It was sort of paper talk really, but worst case, I'm going to have Billy Gilmore coming on. A lot of people ask me on TikTok, why am I still keeping Smithcast? It's just because I want to make these 2 attacking transfers because they're going to get me more points. If I took Smithcast out this week for a hit, it's going to be -4. Billy Gilmore would probably get 2 points against Arsenal. If I get Ben White in or someone like that, it's 6 points. So that it's just going to be not really worth the hit. And that's if Ben White keeps a clean sheet. So here I am. We're going to get Son out this week. Danny Ings will also be coming out this week. Who for is the massive question. I think my midfielder will be Sarr from Watford. I really like his next 4 fixtures. It will tie me over nicely to the wild card that I should be playing either game week 7 or game week 8. But yeah, who do I get in? Ronaldo or Lukaku? It's going to be interesting. I've got the luxury of being able to keep Bruno Fernandes because of the Son injury. I would have preferred probably Son playing against Palace. I think it's a really decent fixture for Spurs. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? I'll come to you, Holly, first. In this predicament that I'm in, I've still got my Bruno. What would you do? Would you get Lukaku or would you get Ronaldo?
Well, I know you're going to want Ronaldo long term, Josh. So if you think you're going to get Lukaku this week, that's essentially costing you 4 points. And then if you're then going to move to Ronaldo next week, that's going to cost you another 4 points. So are you confident that Lukaku is A, going to outscore Danny Ings by 4 points, and B, that is going to outscore Ronaldo by 8 points this week? That's what you need to weigh up.
I have 2 free transfers this week, so
I know you do. But transfers do cost us 4 points, and you've got issues like Simicast still. So yeah. you've got to think of it objectively.
I guess so, but I like Lukaku this week. But I said in like a group chat that we're in that is Lukaku going to perform against Spurs, who have been defensively pretty solid? I know they haven't underlying stats wise haven't been great, but there's a reason why they're keeping clean sheets, and also Man City that we know are a good defensive side. So yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I'm really struggling.
Yeah, they're not going to be high scoring games, are they? That's exactly the thing. It's going to be a classic Chelsea 1-0, if that.
Yeah, exactly. So shall we move on to your team, Holly, if you want to bring it up? Hopefully your decisions are a little bit easier than mine.
Well, I'm having a few headaches as well. Sorry, my settings are all over the place.
No worries.
Oh, do you know what I say? To share my screen, I need to quit.
It's all right. Do you want to just talk us through it?
Yeah. So the issue that I've got Callum Wilson is red flagged, and I want Ronaldo. So the plan is to do Callum Wilson out, Ronaldo in. And to get the funds for that, Bruno Fernandes is going to come out. And I think I'm going to bring in Jota. And then I've got Harvey Barnes as well, who needs to go. And I'm looking at Damari Gray. I can afford the 6 million midfielders and Ben Rama as well. But I just think I prefer Damari Gray at the moment. But my headache, that's all on a -4. The headache is whether to also get rid of Danny Ings to bring in Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. But Ings has got the form, but hasn't got the fixtures. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is still a bit injured, and I don't like bringing in injured players. So I don't think it's probably worth the extra -4, but it's still tempting because Benitez was quite positive in his comments today. And Burnley at home, that's like an ideal game for Calvert-Lewin. And Danny Ings against Chelsea, I don't think it's going to be a great fixture. I don't really know how Villa are going to approach the game without Martinez. I don't know whether they're going to be a bit more attacking, especially because they've got Watkins available now as well, or whether they're going to play their normal game and struggle because they've not got Martinez and Buendia.
Yes, it's a tough one, isn't it, Ben? What do you think about that Villa team against Chelsea? Do you think they've got any hope?
I don't think I'd back them, especially the fact that they have no Buendia either to supply him. In terms of that DCL one, like that would be very tempting because Burnley, like me and Josh said the other day, they've conceded the most headed chances out of anyone in the league. and that's sort of Calvert-Lewin's bread and butter, really. So it's a really tough decision that you've got to make. Like, but you just got to say, like, again, like, how many hits are you willing to take this week? And you could see, like, this week you're starting off. If you start off with no hits, you're already on a green arrow anyway. So it's just that case of whether you want to take the hits and how many. Because I don't see Ings scoring, unfortunately.
No, and I don't transfer Ings out this week, I'm going to transfer him out in the next few weeks. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin is the player that I want, but I'll just kick myself if DCL's injured and misses out for whatever reason, or misses next week or the week after. But I'm feeling risky this week.
Oh, that's
if you're going all in on Ronaldo,
yeah.
If you go all in on Ronaldo, then it's just like, oh well, another -4 can't hurt as well while we're at it.
I mean, it sounds like you're kind of already making up your mind as you're talking yourself through it. So I'm sure.
Yeah, I've literally come on to help myself with the transfers.
Another thing as well, you're talking about bringing in Jota. Now, I'm interested to know how late are you going to make your transfers, because Jota's due a rise, isn't he?
I'll do it tonight. I won't do it tomorrow. I'll do it tonight.
Okay.
But the market's been so slow this week. And I know obviously there's going to be a massive spike.
Oh, have we lost her?
We might have. We'll see. Right. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll move on and hope Holly comes back. I think she might just be frozen for a minute. So what's our next topic, Ben?
Our next topic is a problematic one because it involves our guest. So we'll wait and see if Holly does come back.
I think she's back.
I'm back.
Here we go. There we go. No worries. Yeah, it's on to test our guest. So this is Ben. Do you want to talk everyone through it if they haven't watched the video already?
I'll tell you what, you can talk through it and I'll get out the questions for you. How about that?
All right, no worries. So yeah, you'll have 60 seconds to answer as many questions, either FPL related, or have you put some Hull ones in there?
I've put a couple of Hull City questions in.
There we go.
Yeah, but FPL comes up the pecking order before Hull.
So you got 60 seconds. Our highest score so far this season has been 3. So the bar isn't set very high. Last season it was double figures, weren't it, Ben?
It was a joke. People were just like getting every single question, and I was running out of questions, and I ended up having to make more questions. So I've made the questions a bit more difficult, I feel, this season. So yeah, hopefully, freeze the bar. I'm expecting a record broken stay for this season. That's for sure.
Okay.
Right, I've got the clock ready. Are you ready, Ben?
Yeah, guys, in the comments, if you think you know the answer to the questions, put it in, okay? Ready in 3, 2, 1. Who is the most transferred in midfielder on FPL this week?
Torres.
Correct. Who is the top goal scorer in all competitions for Hull so far this season?
Pass.
And who is the only Hull player to have received a red card this season?
Pass.
Antonio has the highest expected goals in the league this season, but who has the second most?
Lukaku? No.
DCL. Who has the most assists in the Premier League so far this season?
Pogba.
Correct. Which team has the highest expected goals conceded so far in the Premier League?
Arsenal.
Correct. Other than Antonio, who is the highest owned striker on the game?
Pass.
Name a keeper to have risen in price since the start of the season.
Raya.
Correct. At what price is Jadon Sancho currently at on FPL?
8.6.
9.2. That is 60 seconds. You got 4. You beat the record for this season.
All right.
That's good knowledge, though. Not
Just
quite so much in the whole questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're too busy on FPL.
Yeah, the whole one's definitely. I don't know whether you were expecting them or not, but yeah, I always have to get a couple of questions from the guest's favourite team. Even I think who is it? James, he supports Rangers or something, and I had to get a few Rangers questions in there for him. But yeah, should we move on, Josh?
Yeah, let's do it. So we're going to take a look at some Game Week 4 stats. Just talk about maybe some players that are interesting us the most, who are showing up like that quite lively. We mentioned some XG questions in there. So Holly, is there anyone that's come out to you so far this season in terms of maybe overperforming their data or underperforming in some regards?
I think Ben Rama is the one that I've been avoiding in the midfield because I feel like he's been overperforming his stats so far, although it could still be great value at his starting price. But, with Europa League and Vlasic shining as well, I'm just a little bit on the fence with him. But some of the Wolves guys are massively underperforming at the moment. Wolves are like the big underachievers of the season so far, and then they've got that classic great fixtures coming up as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people are obviously asking about Wolves because everyone knows about their good fixture turn and everything like that. A lot of people wildcarding this week. Are you on the Wolves bandwagon, or what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I think if I was on a wild card, I'd definitely be bringing in a defender and potentially an attacker as well. I just think that Jimenez, until we see him scoring, I'm not ready to say that he's the same player that he was 12 months ago. And Traore, even though he's quite a fun option, it's just so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, for me, obviously that 6 million midfielder, I think for now, because also I'll be wildcarding in Gameweek 7 probably. I think Sarr, for me, he should be on penalties now that Deeney's out of the club. So I think 6 million penalty taker. He saw what he did against Villa. I think he's a really decent option, and I probably prefer him over Traore for me. Ben, you like the Wolves boys. What's your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one for people who don't already have them or are not on the wild card, because I think the idea of FPL, and you've talked about this before, you don't want to be making defensive transfers early in the season because you want to be attacking the fixtures and attacking the players that are in form. So for me, it's difficult to, if you're not on the wild card, to justify, yeah, you need to bring them in because of their nice fixtures. And then on the other side of it, Holly, your point about Jimenez is absolutely correct. And I think until we start seeing him scoring, it's probably a no-go. And as well as Adama, he scored like 10 goals and got 10 assists in his whole time at Wolves. Like, I know his underlying stats have been fantastic, but, if he's not converting those fantastic chances, what chances is he going to convert?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Anyone else, Ben, that's sort of caught your eye over the first 3 game weeks, and maybe even international duty, because obviously we've had a couple of weeks off, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see Harry Kane starting to pick up sort of bits of form. We saw him pick up the ball quite deep for England, and we saw that great goal against Poland. I think for Harry Kane, especially at the start of the season, he tends to start a little bit slower than the rest of the league. We remember his August hoodoo where he couldn't score a goal in August for a good few seasons. So he's really one to look out for, and especially at his price. His price is actually quite decent now. He's dropped a couple of times. So definitely one to look out for, and we'll see how he performs over the next couple of weeks, because that's definitely an option for the plethora of premium strikers we've got right now.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going under the radar, isn't he? Because everyone's looking at the Ronaldos, Lukaku's, etc. So maybe Harry Kane should be voicing his opinion in the coming weeks to come. We'll wait and see, but we'll move on to the next segment, Ben.
Yeah, we'll move on to the captaincy picks, the captaincy options. Now, again, there's a few options. There's a few standout options. Holly, I'm going to go to you first. Who's the standout captain for you this week?
Ronaldo. I say it a little bit fiercely because, Bruno could absolutely punish me this week. But I think if you're backing Ronaldo and you're bringing him in, then you're obviously bringing him in because you're expecting him to start. And if he does start, then it's a fantastic fixture for him.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you've seen the press conference, either of you, but Ollie's just there smirking while saying, "Is he going to play?" It was.
Yeah.
Really, it's so hard to justify what he's actually going to do tomorrow. For me, I think even if Ronaldo comes off the bench for 30 minutes, against a tired Newcastle defence, they're not really going to be attacking much. You wouldn't have thought with no Callum Wilson in that team. It still stinks of goals. So I think even if you get a 30-minute captaincy of Ronaldo, I think that's still going to be decent. Ben, who are you looking at? Obviously, you don't have Lukaku or Ronaldo, so where are you going this weekend?
I've been kind of flip-flopping between Bruno and Salah all week, and for me, Callum Wilson being out puts my decision set to Mo Salah for this week, because I think without Callum Wilson, Newcastle will be happy to try and defend and get that draw. I don't think they'll try and go forward nearly as much without him on the pitch. So I know you say it stinks of goals. I hope it doesn't stink of goals, because if it does, if there's a lot of goals in there, I could be in a little bit of trouble. So Mo Salah, I quite fancy. I mean, last season he got 3 goals and an assist, I believe, against Leeds across the season. Yeah, I think it's the safe choice for me. And without Lukaku or Ronaldo, I've got to go for Mo Salah. Tried and tested. But yeah, I think in terms of other captaincy options, I really like the look of Lukaku. Playing against Jed Steer in goal. Aston Villa without like Martinez is a completely different team, in my opinion. He's so key to them. So if you did have Lukaku, I'd highly consider captaining him this week.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like devil's advocate. Holly's Ronaldo, Ben's Lukaku. They're on my shoulder. Who should I go for?
Lukaku, like the one captain if you've got him, but it's whether you've got him and whether you ought to be getting him.
Oh, it's gonna be a tough night for me tonight, that's for sure. I agree with all these guys' captaincy shouts. I think with Ben, it's interesting with Salah because I saw a tweet today where Leeds at home against the top 6, they tend to defend really, really well. So maybe that might not continue. Who knows? It's Leeds' defence. Realistically, they could concede at any point.
Josh is trying to get me off the Salah captaincy already.
I mean, I'm trying to help you when it stinks of goals against Newcastle, mate.
I mean, one outside one that I was considering, and I mentioned it on Glenn's channel, as an outside bet is Luke Shaw for captaincy, because if Ronaldo's going to be feasting, and he's brilliant in the air, isn't he? I know, Josh, you're laughing, but from corners, Luke Shaw's delivery is fantastic. I could see him picking up a decent haul, especially now a lot of people have transferred him out since the start of the season. I mean, if you're looking at an outside bet, I mean, you probably wouldn't want to do it at the start of the season, but if this was at the end of the season and Ronaldo was there, you'd be like, hang on, Luke Shaw is not actually a bad shout.
What's your thoughts?
It's not your race fantasy. It's not your race fantasy. It'd be all right if you could have like 10 side bets and change it all the time, but never captain a defender. It always ends badly.
Yeah, I think I'm in Holly's camp for that. Some outsiders are genuine considerations. I think Antonio and DCL. I think if DCL plays, we've spoke about him already. He's a really good shout for to be in your team. But if not, maybe even captain. If you haven't got Ronaldo or Lukaku, he's a good shout. And Antonio, he's a man in form against Southampton. I think they've conceded one of the most amount of chances this season. So again, it's an easy win there as well. I expect to see Antonio on the score sheet once again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a Luke Shaw haul now. That's what I'm hoping for.
Take it. I'll be up for it.
But yeah, we're going to move on to the final segment of the video. It's the questions from you guys. So if you guys have any questions, leave them below. And we got one from Devil's Real Talk already. What if you have Lukaku, Ronaldo, and Salah? I mean, that's how has that even happened? Holly, do you want to kind of? I know you're going to be like Ronaldo, but could you make a case for the other two potentially?
Yeah, I think Lukaku's the better captain pick if you've already got him in your team, because he's definitely going to start, and it's a great fixture because Aston Villa are going to be struggling defensively. So if you've got Lukaku, certainly give him the armband over Ronaldo, because Ronaldo's not 100% nailed to start, and Salah has got the away fixture.
I like it. Here's another one. Josh, do you want to answer this one about Xavier? He's wanting to wildcard, but he's concerned about the price drops. What's your advice for him here?
It's difficult. It all depends on who you're looking to get into your team, isn't it? So for me, like Ben White going down to 4.3, in a couple of weeks, you could easily go back up to maybe 4.4, 4.5. I think Arsenal's run of games, you'll see them get a lot more clean sheets. A lot of people are overlooking the fact that Arsenal have played City and Chelsea, the Champions League finalists, in their first 3 games of the season. Yeah, the Brentford game wasn't great, but it's a tough run for them to start. So yeah, I think for him, maybe just it all depends on your team. Send a team over to us on Instagram or Twitter and we can give it a good look.
A question here for Holly: Dunk or Godfrey?
Oh, neither of them are, going to be headline options. I don't really like Dunk as an option because I think Duffy is going to play most of the season with Brighton and he offers the same thing that Dunk offers. I think probably Godfrey, given the fixtures, I think Everton have got the better fixtures now, but I prefer getting fullbacks over centre-backs because if you're not getting clean sheets from your defenders, you need to at least have some hope of getting something else out of them.
Yeah,
Kieran's day.
Yeah, Kieran was a bit upset the other day when I said Dunk was a better defender than Godfrey. So he got a bit upset, and he's been on a little bit of a mission to get approval for Ben Godfrey. So I think you've made him happy today. Here's one from Matthew. Is it possible to go without Jota and Ronaldo this week without falling behind too much? Josh?
I mean, yes, because Jota and Ronaldo could both not return this week, and then the people who brought him in, they don't look so good as they do right now. Whether that actually happens, though, is a big if. Ronaldo, obviously, if he starts, it would be crazy for him to blank. Imagine if he starts and blanks, that would be insane. For Jota, I think he gets the same sort of underlying numbers as Salah. He's a very good option when he is playing. Holly, what's your thoughts on that?
I think you'll be fine. If you've got Bruno Fernandes, you'll probably be fine this week for the Newcastle game. And, Salah will probably outscore Jota if you've got him as well. So neither of them are must-owns for this week. But obviously, they are very good picks to be bringing in right now, thinking of the short term.
Let's have another one here. Should I do a -4 so I can replace Son? Again, this is one, Josh, that you're kind of looking at yourself. It's probably not worth having a £10 million asset not playing for your FPL team this week, is it?
Yeah, I think a few people asked me this on TikTok Live. I think for me, I would take the -4. He's obviously holds a lot of value, as you mentioned. And also, there's no known return date. That could mean he is back next week. But I think Spurs fixtures, again, they're a little bit difficult and then they get easy again. So, yeah, I'd go for it. See who you can bring in. Maybe Jota's that guy that we've mentioned already to bring in.
Yeah, Holly, what do you think? A -4, is it probably warranted with Heung-min Son?
Yeah, because I can't see Son's potential in the long term, because ideally you're going to want to have two premium players for the season, like a premium midfielder and a premium forward. But Son's just a bit cheaper than the other premium midfielders that you're probably going to have anyway. And then it's a difficult price point to sustain in your squad in the long term. So I think it's probably a good idea to get rid now and either go up to someone like Salah or down to someone in that 6 to 7.5 million bracket.
Agreed. We'll take a couple more questions if that's all right, and we'll finish it up. So it's a lot of Ronaldo questions, to be honest. Here's a question from Thomas about his team: Barnes or Ayling. Who should he start this week? Who do we think is going to actually get a return out of those two?
Neither. Realistically, two really tough fixtures, probably against the two best teams in the league. I think you always play the attacker, though. What's your thoughts, Holly?
Yeah, I agree. And Leicester are often quite a bit of a baby team for City. Yeah. So I think the only issue is, I think Brendan Rodgers is basically saying that Barnes and Lookman will play the same position. So I don't know how many minutes Barnes will get, but I still think he's probably a better option than Ayling.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, because Leicester, obviously, last season with the two up front, they played really well. He's sort of reverted back now. Barnes is back from injury, not playing as well. So maybe that's a risk factor as well with Harvey Barnes, the fact he might lose his minutes in the team. See, with Hatson Daka scoring that weldy in training this week, he might come straight into the team.
Yeah, so we'll take one more question. And it's a question of two players. This one, I think, is a bit closer, though, in my opinion. Ben White versus Rafinha. Who would you start in your FPL team? Now, I'm going to say I've got both those players, and Ben White starting ahead of Rafinha in my team. I know we said start the more attacking player over the more defensive player, but 44% chance Arsenal keep a clean sheet. Josh, is that too sort of too risky to go with Rafinha over Ben White, or are we thinking there's not really too much difference between them?
I'd start Ben White as well. Personally, I think it's like a perfect fixture for Arsenal, isn't it, to try and get back to winning ways. Also, you've got the big doubt with Rafinha of the fact that is he going to play due to obviously all the Brazilian players that are suspended, but some are playing. It's so up in the air with all that. Holly, would you start Ben White?
No, I think I'd start Rafinha because the Arsenal defence have been truly awful. Like we've already mentioned that they've got the worst expected goals conceded so far this season, and Ben White doesn't offer anything but clean sheets. So once that Arsenal clean sheet's wiped out, he's only going to get you 2 points. Rafinha, I think, has got a slightly higher ceiling, and if he doesn't play at all, then you're going to get Ben White off your bench anyway. So I'd go Rafinha.
There you go. Make your own decision, Xavier.
Yeah, so that kind of leads us on nicely to the end of FPL Fridays. Josh, do you wanna lead us into this one?
Yeah, so Holly's links are down below. Make sure you go check her out. Give her a follow on TikTok. We'll get her to 10K as soon as we can. Thanks for coming on, Holly.
Thank you. I'd love to get to 10K. So I'm learning a lot from you guys. So any tips for TikTok, please send them my way because I definitely need them.
No, you're doing a great job. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so that rounds up another week of FPL Fridays. We hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to leave a like. Of course, like Josh said, go give Holly a follow on all our socials. We've left them in the description. And as always, I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And that's been Holly. And we'll see you guys
later. Have a good game week, everyone.